What is going on YouTube? I'm Dave. That's not Steve. That's Matt
Hello.
from the Essential Credentials channel on YouTube here. And we're going to talk a little hockey. Steve had some prior engagements to do this week. I've been busy. I just came back from my brother's in Appleton, trying to get situated here and work. It's always fun. Work and driving 8 hours. So
Oh man.
we're just going to do this for about an hour and a half tonight. So I know it'll be easier for everybody to listen to and not the 4-hour marathons I usually do with Steve, which I love, but I know a lot of people don't. That's fine. It's fine. And we're going to talk a little hockey, which it doesn't get brought up nearly enough on the YouTube, Instagram, any of the social media outlets. I know Matt feels that same way. And we're just going to talk cards, and that's about it. Just have fun talking hockey. I was hoping we'd go to Game 7 for tomorrow night. Dallas couldn't pull it off. I'm fine with Tampa winning. I'm hoping Carlos isn't here to give us a thumbs down because I know he's a big Stars fan. But again, Norm Green took the Stars away from Minnesota, so I don't really feel bad when they lose.
Yeah, I see Vinny's in here. Vinny, I got a bone to pick with you, man. You know what I mean, too. But yeah, no, I appreciate you being on me, inviting me on here, man. I certainly enjoy talking hockey cards. I don't get a chance to do it too much, obviously because the Essential Credentials podcast is focused on 90s baseball. But I've kind of, I started doing my mail day videos on there, like with a plethora of, different sports and players and things. And I think that's been a lot more fun, kind of like your videos, Dave, before I started getting into hockey, I would enjoy watching, the mail day videos with lots of goalies, and then you'd have some Drew Bledsoe, and then you'd have some Josh Johnson, and you kind of just cover all the bases, and it's probably the most fun I've had doing mail days, rather than just like every week putting up the same thing, which is cool, but I like kind of waiting. And then it's funny, I've really had a lot of fun doing that, and it's been awesome. For anybody that doesn't know, I wasn't collecting hockey prior to COVID, and my A-Rod collection kind of hit a wall because he's only got so many Mariners cards, other than the $1,000+ cards I don't have, and then I started seeing your mail day videos and talking to a guy on Instagram called Batnob Cursive, super cool guy, and it just started all the memories of collecting hockey as a 5 to 10-year-old before I got into baseball came back, and I started diving into the inserts. I bought that, where is it, right back there, that Beckett back there that you told me to buy, and it was just like the rabbit hole opened up and down I went. So there it is.
It's never far from my hands. Since we're relative newbies to the actual hardcore collecting of hockey, that's been such a huge tool for us. We can admit that. It's not like, we're smarter than anybody. We knew some stuff about hockey cards. We knew the era that we collected in.
Right.
We knew the nickel masks were nice cards, the mirror golds, all that stuff. But there's been so much more. I know we both have learned just because of that, what it was, like $10, $11 purchase. And I looked again because I'm like, man, I might want to buy another just to have one. But right. I didn't find them on eBay there. So they must have sold out. That guy must have sold the whole kit and caboodle.
No, I like what you're saying too, man. Especially with the prices. I think that coming from baseball 90s, which is like, exploded or did back when COVID happened, I predicted, all these cards were going to go up and these were going to be cheap. I mean, it has gone to an absolutely new level. A-Rod has gone up a little bit, It's maybe doubled in some of his big cards, but so I'd already had most of those, but I was like, oh man, I can't afford to stay here if something does come up. Like I grabbed a few really nice ones, but I started looking at the prices of the hockey cards, and I started looking up the big cards that I knew had crossovers, thanks to the Beckett that you recommended here. And I was like, wow, okay, this is something I can really do. And I'm the type of guy that just goes all in, man. Like you and I were talking before the show, I kind of was like McGillney, Bure, maybe a couple goalies here and there, guys that I remembered as a kid, And Lemieux I knew wasn't going to be obtainable because I'd kind of dabbled in looking his cards about a year ago. And so I started thinking about who did I like and who did my dad like, because he got me into hockey, and who made it into a lot of insert sets. And Jocelyn Tebow was my guy. You know, he's a young goalie coming in at 18. He's got an amazing set of masks that he wore. He was in a lot of insert sets from those 90s eras and from the 90s era. And I just went for it, man. Down the road I went, and it was fun to just like ask you questions like, what about this card? What's a good price here and there? And once I kind of got dialed in, you know, talking to you and a couple of the guys kind of got that price range dialed in, I could set my expectations for, okay, I can go for all these, and these are the ones that I need to wait to come down on. And I just had a plan of attack and just went for it. And it's been a lot of fun, man. It really has been.
And that's the thing. We talked about it before when I was on your show. We talked about it privately. We'll talk about it anytime anybody asks us, or probably on any episode. If you have the inkling of going down some road, go down the road. You don't have to be an Indy card, Formula One card, going 220 miles an hour.
Yeah, that's right, man.
You don't have to be Lewis Hamilton. You can take a leisurely trot. Just look on eBay if there's stuff that looks nice to you. Maybe get it. Ask around. There's a lot of people in this hobby that won't help. We're two people that will.
Absolutely.
There's a plethora of people out there that will help answer a question. We're not know-it-alls, again, by any means, but we will answer the things, questions, comments. You're like, I don't know, what are the odds on that? You got that Beckett. You say you use it. Yeah. We'll add to that stuff. And I mean, when you start knowing or start figuring out some of these prices, and you're like, okay, I can pay $20 for $15 for a Brodeur Pinnacle Math. Feel comfortable with that. I'm not going to pay $40 because that's maybe a die cut price. But I mean, you start to learn a little bit of the pricing. You're not going to always know it all. But just to get to where you feel comfortable, that's a huge hurdle. I think a lot of people don't want to deal with. They just they want to feel in their comfort zone. And to get out of that, you're going to have so many great experiences with these new collections you can build upon.
Right. No, I'm with you on that, man. I think, you know, expectations of collecting is a big deal. I think that's a big reason a lot of people maybe are afraid to jump in, or they jump in and they, you know, they're expecting the hockey market to be just like the baseball market. It's definitely not going to be like the basketball market. Nothing will ever touch that. But, you know, they jump in and again, you know, I'm not going to hate on people, but I think coming in with like an investment mindset, that's why I love collecting hockey, because none of my Tebow collection that I have here and a few behind me over here, none of them I bought with the intention of ever reselling them. Not one, you know. And I think that's one thing I've loved more than anything about hockey, collecting hockey, is every single card that I own of all the goalies and all the Tebows, and my first vintage card, which I think you saw, that none of those have ever been purchased with the intent of reselling them. You know, my Alex Rodriguez collection, I love it to death. But if I got in a super tight spot and I needed money, I know that I'm covered with that collection. My Tebow collection, nope. I don't think I don't even think I could get half my money back on it, and that's okay. You know, that's what's been the most enjoyable part of hockey, is there's not one card in there that I bought with the intent of making money off it. So, yeah, that's been the best part, hands down.
And that's something you broached upon there, is like the investment. There's certain aspects. Again, Tebow ever going to make the Hall of Fame? No.
Nope.
Alexander Daigle, one of my collections, going to make it? No. Matt Dumba, unless he strings together about 10 years of 20 goals from a defenseman, he's probably not. But again, if you've got it in your means and you like the card, you're not, again, card poor. Everybody talks about that. That's actually been in this hobby. Don't try to keep up with the Joneses, and don't get yourself card poor, card broke into such a hole that, guess what? This hobby isn't fun anymore, because then guess what? You're not going to come back. And that's why I think a lot of these investors are going to rue the day down the road when the bottom falls out, because a lot of the stuff they're buying, there is not a finite amount of cards. Maybe some of the early, like Panini Prism, silvers, like the Giannis.
Yeah.
But the current stuff, there is, I mean, there's no cap, it seems, to the stuff that Panini's
Right.
pressing. And what's at least something that you've got like a Brodeur Untouchables where it's numbered to 1,000.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what? There's 1,000 of them. So as flashy as it is, as not flashy as it is, you know that there's 1,000 of them. There's not
Mm-hmm.
blaster boxes at every place that you go to if there was a normal situation. That's where I think that people will rue the day of just dropping tens of thousands on stuff that's not serial numbered or doesn't have a baseball appointment. And that's when those people are gonna exit our hobby, and we'll still be in it enjoying it.
That's a good point. I mean, I had an interesting conversation with, you know him, Batnop's Cursive on Instagram, right? He's got the Slapshot guy. So I had him on here, and you'll love when I bring him on the podcast. He's very insightful, and he brought something that I didn't think about, and that's, all these people buying up all the Lucas and Giannis's and, Connor McDavid's and, whatever. We were talking about Young Guns, for instance, and anybody that collects hockey knows that that's the rookie card to have. And hockey is the only sport where those are more desirable than the rookie patch autos. You look at basketball, and the National Treasure rookie patch auto Zion will be the most expensive card of the year, hands down, right? Like base rookie card, base. Football, same thing, rookie patch auto. Baseball, I would probably say I don't even know. There's like Topps does so many different releases. I don't even know where to go, but maybe like a Topps Chrome, like orange refractor auto or a Bowman Chrome refractor auto. Those are pretty desirable. But hockey has these unnumbered rookie cards, and there's probably thousands of them, I would think, that were printed. But they, like the Crosbys, are selling for almost $1,000. The Ovechkins are, the Connor McDavid, and there's tons of them out there. And he brought up that the demand is so high that even though the print runs are ridiculously high, that you can meet that price because so many people want one. And I think that's why you're seeing, all these Giannis's and Lucas and all these cards selling for so much, because people want one and they're out there and they'll pay what they have to get them. And there's never a shortage of them on eBay. And too bad Topps Project didn't turn out that way, because, I've got a pile of those sitting behind me and I'm just like, that was a terrible idea. But so I think that's a big, but when is that going to stop? When is the demand for these cards going to stop? When the demand stops, the prices drop. And hockey, again, I only paid $6.50 for one of my top 3 all-time cards of Tebow. There's only like 400 or 500 of these bad boys, and one hadn't popped up in 3 years. You know what I mean? But it was $6, and that's why hockey is just amazing. You know what I mean? Because I can get more excited about that than a modern player rookie card coming up. And that. Again, that's why hockey is like this perfect sweet spot for me, is that I don't have to break the bank. The cards are amazing. The cards aren't expensive, and there's not too much competition, yet. So anyway, I think it's a big part of it, Dave. I don't think the demand is going to drop off anytime soon. A lot of people are our age-ish and rediscovering their love for collecting cards, and they're just going down the rabbit hole and finding modern cards and just like, cool. I mean, I got the money, let's go. But then they're seeing these Gary V guys, bless his heart. You should invest in these. And that's I just stay away from that, man. That makes collecting bad. I don't enjoy it that way.
Yeah. If you want to invest, go for the few rookies that are vintage, the Gretzkys, the Lemieux, the Jordans, the Mantles, Mays, Norris,
right,
Gibson, Williams. Go for the guys that transcend sport.
Absolutely.
If you're going for Juan Soto Topps update rookies thinking you're going to have $1 billion in 15, 20 years, go back to 1992 with the Topps Brian Taylor. People thought the same thing then.
I mean, that's funny. Did you say 52? 1952, Brian Taylor. I was just letting my friend Tyler know. He would love to listen to this conversation because he's got some thoughts. But I don't know, man. I love what you said about the old school guys, though, because vintage is a path that I never even thought about going down. But like my vintage card sitting here, he's not going to get any worse. Those guys, those retired guys, man, they've done what they've done, and their name's not going to get dragged through the mud unless they do something absolutely horrendous in their personal lives. So if you want to invest in cards, I guess if you want to say that, I think vintage is the way to go, man. I think if I was going to decide to go down that road and I came into a lot of money and I wanted to make more, I know exactly what path I would go. Not this, you're taking such a risk on, Connor McDavid even, or Mike Trout or whatever you want to say. Those guys could have a career-ending injury tomorrow, hiking a mountain and they're done. The cards just go whoosh, So anyways, I think it's a perfect time. My dad was really excited about the card and I always kind of wanted to get this vintage card. And then a friend of mine, Greg, who, off the podcast, he was like, "Hey, you should really do it, man. Vintage is a fun place to go every now and then." And so I came into contact with a really cool guy named Nick, and he sold me the O-Pee-Chee Patrick Waugh rookie. Let's see if I can get it to zoom in. There we go. And it was previously graded a 6.5, and he had busted out. He sent me the label, and it's just talk about going down memory lane, man. Like seeing this card in Beckett and thinking I'll never own this as a kid. There's no way. Even then. And I look at it now and I'm just like, this is definitely a card that will remind me of my dad, first of all, because he loved hockey back in these days. And it was like the vintage card to buy. I couldn't think of another one, maybe a Lemieux down the road, but come on, that's like the most iconic vintage goalie card ever made in my mind. So,
yeah, that's one on my list at some point in time. I'm super jealous of that one. So I'm glad you got it, though. That's the thing that. Again, it went to somebody that obviously appreciates it instead of somebody that wants to. The flipping aspect, again, I get that's more of where the younger guys come in. I think that's more the risk, more the testosterone starts getting up and your endorphins or whatever. They start manifesting. It's like, oh man, this Soto PSA 10, I got it for $250. It's going for $5. I'm going to hold out for $1,000. And I mean, I get the rush, but at the same time, that's a lot of us, most of us, the collecting bug isn't about, man, I got to sell this and get something else to sell that. No, it's not flipping. It's appreciating the cards that we do get. Mm-hmm. If we do have something that may not fit in our collection or something that just has risen to the point that, well, it's stupid to hold on to it because.
Well, you had that happen. Didn't you remember? We talked about that. Yeah.
So it's like, okay, then I can part with that. And guess what? I can pick up some monsters for the collection and other stuff that's interesting.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I've shown you, I think I showed you that Ripken I picked up.
I'd like to see it again. I mean, I think it was a while ago, man. So I definitely like a refresher if you have it.
Yeah.
I just thought it was pretty cool. Yeah. Oh, of course. Yes. Of course. Yeah. Talk about a childhood card right there, man. That just must bring back so many memories for you.
Seeing that in the Beckett for whatever it was, $450, $550, and it's just like that's not even going to be something I even see.
Yeah.
But again, part with some Siakam stuff, some basketball stuff, stuff that's been sitting in boxes pretty much for 4 years.
Yeah.
And it's just like, okay, I'll look it up, and I'm like, ooh, I better look for that card. So glad I did and was able to make that deal and was able to pick up a lot of stuff for the collection and then just stuff that I thought was cool. I mean, that's the main part of collecting. It doesn't have to be like you don't have to agree with me.
I know, I like that.
Baltimore franchise. Come on, Bob, you know that. That it doesn't have to be stuff that you agree with if I pick up or I agree with that you pick up or Greg picks up something that you don't like or whoever down the road or Bob picks up. As long as you like it and you are comfortable at that price, that whatever you paid and you're happy, that is the bottom line. That's all that's important.
That's what collecting's about. Yeah. That's what collecting's about, man. I mean, it's nice to be able to, I think Instagram has been one of the biggest revelations for me because in the baseball world of Instagram, if you're not posting essential credentials and PMGs and one-on-ones and these crazy cards and, nobody, you get like a little like, but it's like, all right, well, nobody's really going to say anything to you about those cards. But interacting with all the hockey fans, man, that's been one of the coolest things. I think Vinny can attest to that. I think you get on there and you start having conversation, and people enjoy each other's collections. And that for me is what it's all about. Because I'm here in Sitka, Alaska. Nobody collects hockey, let alone collects 90s here. Nobody. I know a vintage collector, one. That's it. And for baseball. And so it's really about appreciating not only each other's collections, but obviously people appreciating yours, and just kind of going back and forth. And the hockey Instagram world has been really nice. So yeah, it's been awesome. Yeah, Yeah, it's a football podcast. If we ever talk about the Seahawks, man, you can bring them up all you want.
Go, Steve. Yeah, I wish they had more stuff in the '90s too, but they were such a also-ran franchise. I loved Chris Warren, but their quarterbacks were pretty bogus.
Their team was disastrous, man.
Joey Galloway, I liked him, but again, always injured, or he just never panned out the way I thought he was gonna.
Yeah.
But yeah, if they had some of those '90s inserts, I would have loved that.
Yeah, there was definitely some cool ones. I haven't gone down that rabbit hole. I already know who my favorite '90s player was. That was John Elway, but he's got such a big following. That's not even something I want to even entertain. So I think, you've talked about this too. It's good to have kind of a focused idea. Yeah, whatever. We're talking about hockey now, dude. Carlos, you can't just pop in, man. You got to go back and see what we've been talking about. But no, I think it's nice to be focused on a certain player or two players. I think you can get into hockey and you can be collecting like goalies in general, and that's just too big, man. I mean, I thought about it, and I've got a nice binder of goalies here, but I look through it and I'm like, I barely ever open this up and look at these cards. I'm always looking at my T-bows, all the time. And so that's just my mentality. I like player collecting, and that's how it. Yeah. Carlos is still a little salty. Sucks for you, man. But hey, at least your team made it to the finals. The Penguins got ousted by Carey Price by himself, basically. Oh yeah, there you go. Bringing out some Adano.
Special edition gold. I think that cost me like $3.
I cannot find the T-bow of that. It's funny you showed that. That's one of the only T-bows from 95 or 96, I believe. I can't find that one. It hasn't popped up at all. Kind of strange. It's like one of his first Canadians cards in here is he's got the white mask. Right after he got traded, he used his abs pads and mask for a game or two, and then he went to the white mask, and then he got that iconic Canadians mask done. Where he's got the old school Jacques Plante looking thing painted over the top of it. So yeah, this is definitely his best pad and mask setup of his career. I think the Canadians days, man, they were his best. Loved it. Yeah. Well, good. Now he can afford more Madonna 101s, huh? Awesome. So Dave, what's, I'm just kind of curious, I've been following your collection since before I got into hockey, and you've been on the Brodeur and Waugh train, which is, you picked the two best goalies that ever played the game. And where have you kind of hit a wall at all with that? Because you picked up just some absolutely like monsters. Have you seen the market trend start plugging into hockey too with that upward trend? Because you sent me some of the prices you paid for some of the cards, and which really is interesting because I compare it to what my T-bows cost, and makes me really think like those two guys have such a big following, even still, even though they're 90s.
Yeah, there's been some stuff. I think we talked about or texted the titanium 2001, the jersey number.
Yeah, that was a big one.
Both of those, and those were well over 200. And that's insane. Well, we're glad you did, Steve.
I can support that being a teacher. So, yeah, good for you, man.
But there's stuff I talked about, that totally certified gold to 59. The guy wouldn't come down under 900.
That is just crazy, man. That is just
And I'm
crazy.
thinking, I'm like, I want that card so bad. I came into all this money. I'm like, I can't even bring myself to pay what I did for the Lombardi auto for a Brodeur to 59. I'm like, that's not even something for somebody who wants to pick that card up. That's my one of my top two with the platinum to 25
Oh,
being
good
the other
Lord.
one. I can't even think about like I wouldn't even pay half that. I'm like
Yeah.
400 was just like a number where I was like, no. But yeah, stuff has come up. I'd say more so for WA on that oh that WA StarQuest Gold one for what, like 850 US, so over 1,100 Canadian. That was not too long ago. A
Wow,
little over a month.
that's impressive. That's more than most of the baseball guys go for, except maybe Griffey. Yeah. Hey, you're welcome. I appreciate being able to hop on here, man. Thank you.
It's the WA stuff has come up, and that's why you haven't seen a lot.
Mm.
I've seen on that site I had told you about, Hobby Insider. There's a couple big WA guys on there, and even he's picking up some of the nice stuff. And he's like, I'm getting blown out of the water with some of the other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, it's starting to tick up here and there. And again, I think it's just whatever people think is aesthetically appealing, and they're like, well, I'm going to go hard for that because it's cool. I'll go
Right.
hard for it. It's cool. But yeah, I lost, I don't know how many the other day. It was the Stadium Club Beam team that I don't even know if I've got a copy around here somewhere.
Yeah, I was trying to get a boucher of that, and people were outbidding me like crazy. I'm like, gosh, these must be really popular. Holy smokes.
I won, I think, 4 or 5. It's Thornton, LeCavalier, maybe? Sakic was the one I don't think I had, and a couple others. But I mean, I just got blasted by everybody. But I mean, these ones were going.
Oh, those are beautiful, man.
And again, it's not like a super, super limited. This numbered rate to 500.
Yep.
So I mean, it's not like to 10 or to 100 or to 50. But again, the acetate, the die cut, everything. It just
That's incredible, man.
The refractive finish.
If Tebow was in that would be a top 10 card for sure.
And that was one where I looked at them right away and I'm like, why are they so much? I really don't get the appeal. Then again, that's one of the cases, like let's say you want to, he's not in there, but like Lemieux. Let's say you wanted him and he was in the set.
Right.
Get the Boucher. Get Tony Amonte's in the set. Roberts in the set. Well, there's like 2 or 3 other lower tier people. I don't know if Eric Daze is in the set. Get one of those guys that's, or who is it? Scott Gomez for New Jersey. Get him.
That's right.
That's like $5-6. Get it and get it in your hand. Then you can make that determination and be like, holy crap, this card is insane. Or like, I feel I wasted $6, but again, it's a cool looking card. I mean, whoever thinks whatever, but
right.
If you can make that determination with a lower tier player in that set, and you're seeing Waugh, Brodeur, Gretzky, Lemieux, everybody going monster, get one of those low tier players, determine then, and then say, okay, I want to spend that 50 or 60 on Gretzky. I might not want to, but dang, these are cool.
You know, that's something that you bring up a good point. And for me, another passion of mine, I'm sure you can see that light back there with it's like one of those, it's made to be like a selfie camera, you know, so it puts like the LED light on you, but without it being blinding. And I use that and I put it right over the top of cards, and something I've really started having a lot of fun. You've seen some of the pictures I've been taking on Instagram. Like if I can show off just how incredible the card looks without like somebody having it in their hand, which nothing can top that, right? But if I can get close to that, if I can see a card like that you just showed there, the Beam team, I can make that. I should be able to make that determination. You know what I mean? But again, I think when you have a player that you're collecting, when they get into a set like that, then there's no like you got to go 100% in. And as much as I wanted the Boucher, I've started getting to a point where the only Tebow cards that are left, unless it's like a Pacific numbered card out of 100, which I can get those for pretty cheap. I have to kind of make those decisions, where it's like, okay, I got to make sure I save the $20. Like I was hoping a card would get here today. It's 2001-02 Atomic, I think Pacific, and it's got the team logo kind of die cut in it. It's the blue out of 41, and that was like 27 Canadian or something like that. And those kind of cards are the things that I have to start thinking about now. It's like, okay, maybe I don't go out and get any more goalies for a while. Like I think the other day, a guy I used to buy just goalie cards from, he'd always message me on eBay, says, I'll list a bunch of young guns. I'm like, dude, I appreciate that, but I just can't, because I know I'll just buy a bunch of them. And then when that big Tebow comes up, my number one want, and I'm like, oh boy, what am I going to do? Now I got to sell something. I don't want to be in that, that conundrum of thinking, oh, what am I going to get rid of? So I guess it goes back and forth. I certainly am with you. And sometimes I got to live, through others' collections. Like you're putting up all these amazing Waz and Brodeurs. I'm like, yeah, I'd love to have those, but you're doing a good job of helping me out there by seeing some of those, man. Cause I would love to own them. I really would, but I think you have to limit yourself at some point, and that's what Tebow's done for me is I can really find that fine line of, because I collect Tyler Glass now too. So I can't just be buying everything at both of them. I have to really, figure it out. So
that's what's pretty much good for me. I don't really have anyone active anymore. I mean, nobody's actively playing or pursuing anything where I can just go back and Johnson, I'll pick up something. Jason Marr will pick a Northcutt I didn't have popped a couple weeks ago. Again, $1, but one I've never seen.
Yeah.
But then I can go back and I can just sit there and be like, okay, I know what I'm looking for. If it pops up, I've still got stuff I can sell that I don't care about baseball wise. I mean, I got Tatis Jr. stuff. I got Vlad Jr. stuff. I got that stuff where I don't have much into it. I can move it. Right. So the rookies. Bob will be happy with.
Well, is Bob in Tampa?
He's Pittsburgh, but he likes both of them. He's sort of like
nice.
That's the American League team because Pittsburgh gets rid of all their nice talent.
I know. Glad they did. I mean, he looks way better in that Rays uniform than he did in that Pittsburgh uniform, but they also kind of held him back, dude. He got to Tampa, and they're like, no, you go back to doing you, and he is absolutely filthy. Best curveball in the game, hands down.
He's a bigger Meadows fan, but yeah, they fleeced him on that trade.
Yeah, they did. Chris Archer's terrible. He hasn't been doing well.
That was atrocious, but
yeah,
I can go back. I know what I've got. I know my main wants. I hope they come up, but at the same time, the guy in Czech Republic, I don't think he put anything up for a while because I had messaged him. I said, "Are you going to put anything up? Because I need to slot away some funds just for whatever you're throwing up."
Yeah, right.
If I would have known the prices in June with some of those, the Black Diamond Quad, that Emerald, I think, I don't know if baseball had them, but I know football had the 98, whereas the Quad Diamond, the Emerald.
Yeah.
To 100 for for hockey.
Right.
I was thinking, hey, that's like a $60 card tops. That thing went for over 100.
Really?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, we've went over before on the podcast. Check your lists.
Yeah.
But the Brodeur, I was thinking, okay, I love the red uni. I love the green background. Again, I don't care about Christmas, but I mean, that reminds me of that. And I was like, okay, 60, and then you've been outbid, and it was still not enough. 80, still, and then two people, it went up to like 120 or whatever, 110, 120. I'm like, okay. Then that was a nice eye opener. If I'm gonna lose something, at least I can at least say, now I've got to prioritize things, and I've at least got a price in mind. Sure, the next time I might not have people bidding against me and then like a war gets going on, but at least and have like a template for like, okay, that's where we need to be next time, instead of 60 will win it and you just get blown out of the water by twice that, and like,
Yeah, it kind of leaves you pissed off a little bit. Yeah, I mean we've all been there, like A-Rod when all it takes, but all it takes for any player is one more guy. Like
Mhm.
if for instance, Carlos. I mean, we all know that he loves Mike Modano, whichever one you want to pick. Um, you know, one more guy into that Modano circle of collecting, a guy like us is like, oh, he was my favorite player. I met him as a child, like he's getting back into it. One more guy, and those prices go way up because then you get into a card that Carlos has been chasing forever. It pops up, but then that guy's new, and he's like, that's the coolest card I've ever seen. And they're just like going back and forth. Then that happens. Then you get a $60 card that is always around that price, go for twice that. So I
Yeah.
learned that the hard way with A-Rod there for a bit. Because some guys came in and then they bounced out, and you have to readjust your expectations. That's super important. Super, super important.
Vinny, it's under UD Choice Star Quest Blue. That's the base. And then let me see. Green was the second easiest, red was the third, and then gold is the good luck. Because again, those just do not pop ever.
Oh no, there's
And if
possible.
they do, they're going at least. There was one I had seen too, because again, I was stupid enough to do like sold listings. Patrick Eliash, I think back in June, somebody had in a lot for $15. Buy
Yeah.
it now.
I don't go back and look ever. I don't even look at Tebow's, man. I don't even want to know. Like if I missed out on my number one, which I'll be superstitious and not say it. I don't want to know because it'll just drive me absolutely bonkers. So I don't even look. I know there's a lot of people that that do that, but yeah,
I don't do it for Brodeur. I want to see because I had seen on Sports Cards Live, somebody had Jeremy or whoever was on there said about the StarQuest Gold selling, and somebody said the Brodeur. It might have been the Beckett episode where they're doing the price guides,
right.
and I said, "Well, what the hell? Where was this at?" Because I'm checking Brodeur probably more than Josh Johnson every day,
Yeah.
and just like, where was this at? So I don't know if it was on the marketplace or on like Beckett Marketplace or somewhere else, but I'm like,
Yeah.
it hasn't slipped past me somewhere on eBay, and if it did, it was under some rogue listing where it was vague and nobody knew. Vinny, 399, page 399.
Yeah, that is, you do got to check all the you got to check all the different sources of cards for sure. And I mean, that was one thing that you definitely were a huge help with is, asking about checking this side and this side. And it's been a huge help. And as far as Tebow goes, like if somebody's holding on to a Brodeur, big time card out of 30 or 25 or 50, the thing's going up on eBay, man. It's going to happen. But it's been really interesting. Like, for instance, this card right here, the 99 Atomic, which was number 2 on my want list for so long. Just so beautiful, man. Just freaking awesome. The guy that listed this, Nick, he gets his dad's collection and he lists the card and he basically says, yeah, it's been sitting in a box for 15 years. And I threw it up and I couldn't believe that there was a guy that collected Tebow that not only offered, but I messaged him and told him how happy I was to find it. And so that's the thing with the, I think with Tebow's cards, man, people could be holding on to a lot of them and just not even think about listing them. So I definitely am in a tougher spot than you are with Brodeur and Waugh, man. I have to just hope that somebody like Nick comes across a box in his dad's basement or whatever attic and is like, hey, these are some nice cards. I should throw them up on eBay, So, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I looked, somebody the other day in Sweden had Nicholas Lindstrom Atomic 98, 99. They had that, the regular. They had the Scotty Bowman's, the Bowman's Best subs or the insert, and then they had the mirror image. So I'm like, I want to look at that mirror image. I want to see where those go because I know baseball wise, the guy that used to live here lives out in Seattle now. collected Grieve, but he
Mhm.
only collected Grieve up until 98. So guess what? Grieve on the 98 Bowman's Best
Yeah.
mirror image, he's
Yeah.
got Griffey.
Yeah. It's impossible. You never get that card. You never.
He'd buy Bowman's Best 98 boxes, and he pulled the refractor of Grieve and Griffey.
Wow, man. Nuts.
He came in because I think he got it at lunch. We worked at the city, and then he came in. He's like, "You won't even believe what I pulled." And he showed him, like, no way. How you always find that golden horseshoe, and he's like, if I could find the atomic, I'd be a lot better. But yeah, there's but the big name guys are the people that are like, okay, if I just go into Wikipedia, who the hell's Martin Brodeur? I don't know this guy. And they look, oh, over 700 wins, Stanley Cup, Vezina's.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this guy obviously is pretty good, Hall of Fame. They go to Jocelyn Thibault, no disrespect. Decent player. Nothing. Yeah. But it's like, well, if I got Brodeur here, I can probably list that, and
yep,
not going to do me any good sitting around. But if I list Thibault, I don't know. Even though I look at completed listings, I'm like, $20, $25, $15.
Yeah.
Is it worth my time? Do I really care that much about that? A lot of people do, but a lot of people will be like,
He literally gets, if I'm going to say on average, like half a dozen new cards listed a day, and most of them are the same ones that keep getting relisted over and over again. So, my heart skips a beat when I see like 5 or 6 go up from the same guy, thinking, oh man, he might have, And so I guess my biggest thing is I have to wait for set collectors and things to list cards. I mean, most of my collection that I have here, I think like 90% of it was probably sitting on eBay for months and years and whatever. And I just came and cleaned up, And so now when a new one gets listed, I'm very excited, and I try to make a very healthy offer on them. So, that way people don't think that I'm trying to lowball or anything. And I think I pay quite well for his cards. Again, there's no real gauge on Thibault cards. I just kind of go from what, I know what your guys are selling for, Roy and Brodeur, and then how much I want it. And just, you've always said, if you have the money to go for it, don't try to be skimpy on it,
Yeah, Hasek, that was one I went after for that Beam team, and I think he went for like $47.
Oh yeah, he's super popular still, which is great because he's right below. You got Brodeur, Waugh Brodeur, whichever order, and then he's right in there, man. He was absolutely fantastic. Didn't he win the MVP 2 years as a goalie? I mean, come on.
I think there's a 94, 95 Pinnacle.
Vinny, I hope you're right, by the way. That would make me so happy because I'm a big Tristan Jarry fan. I know Dave knows this. And if the Flower came back as like a 1A option, that would make my heart so happy. It was like when D Wade came back to the Heat. It just needed to happen, and they need to bring Fleury back and trade Matt Murray off to who cares where.
He'll go to Edmonton and I'll be stuck with him there.
No, he'll go to Minnesota and you can go watch him play.
I don't think they will. They're like I've showed you too. I think they're going to trade Dumba. I don't know when. I just don't know. But they just signed Brodin for like a 4-year deal, and Dumba's got I think like a $6.5 million cap hit over the next 5-6 years.
Yeah.
So, and then you've got Suter. So you've got 3 defensemen that are making. And then Jared Spurgeon. So you got 4 defensemen that are making good money. Somebody's got to go for some sort of skill position, forward or center. I mean, they need somebody up there.
That's a really good question, man. I think both of our teams are looking at doing that too, because the Penguins have got these stars that are aging. And if I was going to make a bold prediction that probably won't happen, I would say that Malkin gets traded before the season starts. And I say that because you can't get rid of Crosby. He was like the savior when he came in. The dude needs to retire as a Penguin like Lemieux. There's no way he can go. But as good as Malkin has been, if you watched him in the playoffs, he was horrible. He was absolutely horrible. And that whole team was, minus Jarry in his one game, and Crosby was decent. But I wouldn't be interested. I mean, you got big cap hits on a team like that. and there's a chance to get young talent. And even if you struggle for a year coming out, you might be able to get somebody down the road, be able to afford a rising young star and build a team around him. But we'll see. I really want them to keep Jari. And I know Vinny said the Krakens. No, please don't. Me and my dad are so excited. He's in Seattle, and we're so excited to go watch hockey again. I've looked at all the potential guys they could pick up. Jari, of course, was one of them, but then I want him to stay with Pittsburgh. So I'm hoping they get like a Jake Allen or, maybe somebody get like a Pekka Rinne and then get a really young goaltender out of the draft, or somebody like 1920 and bring them up and have Pekka start most of the games. We'll see. I'm really excited for the Krakens, dude. I'm so stoked. Go down to Seattle and watch some games. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be fun.
I'm going to wonder how they do any realignment too. That's always the interesting thing. Mm-hmm. Especially on that West Coast, you want to keep sort of those Canadian teams in the same division. You don't want to ruffle them up. But yeah, I always like that expansion draft stuff, just because now it's so you can't hoard everyone. You've got to give somebody up. Every team can only protect one goaltender.
Yeah, that's huge. Yeah, that's going to make things interesting. That's why I kind of felt like, when I was looking at all these, that would be a fun episode to do in a year from now, maybe a little less, 11 months from now is come on 3 or 4 of us and talk about our predictions because the draft will be coming up is where they're going to go. I always thought, looking at all the available players, that, I've always liked Pekka Rinne. He's 38, 39 years old, something like that. To get a guy, an older goaltender that can, bring a couple of youngsters along would be really cool. And a guy that people know in the, around the league, and that people will, getting some players that people recognize in Seattle because they don't have much of a hockey following yet. I think that would really lend itself to lots of fans showing up. So hopefully they go down that route. They better not get Matt Murray. That will literally trigger me. I won't buy it because I'm going to buy the jersey of the first goalie for their team. But if it's him, I'm not going to do it. I just don't. I'm not a fan. I can't do it, man. He did great for us in the playoffs. Don't get me wrong, but he doesn't impress me. So, yeah. Anyways, I don't know. We'll have to see what happens. But that'll be a lot of fun when that draft hits, man. It's going to be. Look at how Vegas has done, man. I know they didn't win the cup, but they sure have done good the 3 years they've been around. Holy moly.
And that's too bad it wasn't this year that Seattle was coming in, because King Henrik, he got bought out, or he's going to get bought out by the Rangers. So that'd be perfect for him. Sign right there, couple-year deal, and be a bridge to somebody else. But yeah, they got lucky. Vegas got lucky with Fleury. He's sort of wore his welcome in Pittsburgh. I get it. But at the same time, it's there's still a little tread on that tire, and you saw it. He was able to do well, and
he did amazing.
The hell out of pretty much any and everyone. That it's Vegas Stanley Cup Finals. No, what? So again, that it's changed a lot from where you're just picking quadruple A players for baseball, or just the trash off the heap for basketball, and same with hockey. You didn't have. When Columbus and Minnesota came in, there wasn't much there. There's a lot. Wes Walls, I think, was the biggest guy that Minnesota got from the veteran department, and he wasn't anything before that. He's like a third-line center.
No, it's a lot different now. You're right. It's crazy how good the team was. I didn't know. That's how I understood how it worked, Dave, is when you saw how good Vegas was. You're like, wait, what's going on here? And I think that gets me to think there's a lot of good players on teams that just that are sitting on the fourth line that just don't get the burn. And same in the NBA, there's a lot of good players that sit on the bench and they need the right opportunity. And Vegas proved that, man. Those guys all came out and just completely knocked everybody's socks off,
Go back to a comment Carlos said it. A lot of the stuff, that doesn't pop often. That's where I'm not saying you're going into it blind, because you can sort of have a idea of where it's going to go just off of other. It doesn't even have to be similar looking or similar ratio odds, or even similar numbered. But you're okay, those Z goals are impossible to find.
Yeah.
So, okay, maybe like the Mirror Gold 96, 97. You're looking, okay,
Mhm.
maybe that, the Atomic to
Mhm.
100, or because it's like you don't see that pop up. You're like, okay, trying to apples, oranges, and grapes, trying to figure out all that stuff. But in the end, you just, again, go with what you're comfortable with. And even then, you might be like, ugh, if I haven't seen this and I've collected Lindstrom for 7, 8 years, I'm
You
going to
got
have
to
to
go
put
for it.
a $300 bid on there just to make sure I get it because I don't know if I'm going to see it again, even with the
Right.
dinged corner.
No, you're absolutely right, man. I think again, that's where the friends of the hobby come into play. I've got you and Carlos, Vinny and Batnob Cursive and Nick, guys that have been collecting a long time. I say, hey, this Tebow just popped up. And I mean, by now I kind of have a pretty good, what is it? A pretty good read on what, like, that Z Gold. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that's number 2 on my want list for a reason. If that comes up, it's like, get your gloves on, man. Get your boxing gloves on. It's about to go down. I mean, because you feel like everybody should know this is an impossible card. But there's certain cards that pop up where I'm like, wait, at the beginning when I was getting into, I'm like, how much should I really, because you talked about, I mean, you kind of proved my point. This one right here, the gold, the
Mm-hmm.
certified gold. I mean, this is out of 59, right?
Yep.
So I see this card, and then the mirror gold, which I thought was should have been more expensive. And my first Tebow I ever bought when I got back was the mirror gold BGS 9. This was $15. I'm like, okay, hold on a second here. Well, if that was only $15, then the other one out of 59, which has a higher print run, technically, this shouldn't be 60. But I asked you, and I said, this guy said he's going to list the card if I don't buy it. And you're like, yeah, 60 is a good deal. And then you're telling me that the Brodeur is listed for 900 best offer. I'm like,
Well, that
okay,
was 1100. That's
1100.
He's like, I bought it for 12 and I'll give it to you for 9. I'm like, you're a used car salesman. Please move along. I'm like, no.
He bought it for $1,200. Is that how much those used to go for?
And that's the thing. I can imagine that going for that much. I don't know, in his prime, but now I don't know. Again, if money was no question, maybe. But again, even with a windfall of money, I'm like, I can't. If it's the 1 to 25, I would have been tempted
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
because again, that stuff I've seen that WA that was listed. I think PSA 9. I think that's been up forever for like 24.99, and I'm like, if I can just get the Brodeur, I can be happy. I'll still go for the stuff, but that one's the top of the mountain. That's the flag on the top, but
Yeah.
it's not something where I'm super tempted eventually when everything gets back to normal. We'll go to one of those expos up in Toronto. Like it's basically the national, not for hockey cards, but it's a ton more hockey centric
Right.
than the one in the States. So
That would be
like,
fun.
even if I go up there and find stuff that I think is cool,
Right.
it's a win-win, and maybe network and hey, this guy used to collect Brodeur. Maybe he's got something. He hasn't looked in 10 years, 15 years.
Yeah.
Whatever the case may be.
Yeah. That's a good point. I mean, it's, yeah, you never know where you're going to find cards too, man. That's the thing. And you never know what you're willing to do to get them. We talked about the prismatic auto that came in and how
Mm-hmm.
tough those are. And I took 3 months plus to come from ComC because it came from Canada. It was like stored offsite in Canada, and it came. We had to get to them, and they had to ship it to me. Like, just knowing that it was going to take 3 months. But then again, this is one of those cards where you'll probably never see another one, even though they're out of 100. They're just impossible to find. And so we definitely have had to, really rely on the networking and investigative mode that we can go to find some of these cards. And it makes it fun though, right? It makes it fun when it finally, finally get those in hand, right? Because then you can really sit back and appreciate just how much work it took to get some of those cards, and like I finally won one after losing 3 or something like that. That adds to it as well.
Yeah, there's been things I've lost mostly from that Czech Republic guy. Or I didn't think like that one the 96, 97 score, the
Mhm.
dealer's artist proof.
Oh yeah, you were the one telling me this is going for this much. Go buy the Tebow right now.
Yep.
I remember that. Yeah, that went for over $100, didn't it?
That's a score artist proof based off of the Golden Blades. You could scratch the back. It was like sort of like the old Tops, like little insert that you could scratch and like play a little game. And I
Right.
think it said like a dealer's winner, something like that. Again, Carlos will probably know a little more on that. But and there wasn't a ton of them out there because I think you had to give it to a dealer to send it in and then get it back.
Yeah, let me find it here. I have them. Here we go. Here it is.
Because that was another one where you're thinking, okay, it's an artist proof. It's if it's up to like 60 or 70, I'm whatever that you don't see it, and then it went for well over 100, and I'm like, oh, okay, another one I'm gonna have to earmark for a trendy day.
So so you're telling me I have a Golden Blades in my binder, but you're telling me that the let's see if I can get it, the dealer's choice, you
Mhm.
had to send a card from the dealer from a dealer to score and get it back, right?
I think on the back of like the regular Golden Blades, there's like it looks like a little code area there. I
Right.
think
Yes.
that, and I think it was like a winner. I think it said winner, or at least
I think my Golden Blades is unscratched in here, and I'm going to leave it that way. I think for me, I'd like to keep some of that stuff intact, but here it
yeah.
is.
From what it says here, another parallel to the score set. These cards, and talking about the dealer's choice artist proofs. These cards were sent to dealers whose customers pulled winning Golden Blades cards. The dealer mailed in the winning card and was given 2 cards in exchange. The customer received the special artist proof while the dealer received this version, being the dealer's artist proof. Identical to the artist proofs, only the words dealer's choice were added. And
Okay,
again,
well,
it's a 100-time multiplier. But if you think, well, nobody even knew probably to scratch off that thing on the Golden Blade.
hold on. There's not really a scratch off. Look, it's a
Yeah,
code.
yeah, it's like whatever code is there. Because I think if it was like it said instant win, there
So
we go.
so it oh okay, because the decoder would say, all right. So my only other question for this card is this: if I'm correct, when I was doing my entire collection on Trading Card Database, there is a Golden Blades, which is like a canvasy type feel. This card is a Golden Blades artist proof, which I don't have yet. And then there was also the dealer's choice, which doesn't have that card stock. It's like a smooth card
Yep,
stock. So you get both of those back, correct?
yep.
Ah, well, that's
The
awesome.
artist, the artist proof is just like the regular 97 white border baseball artist proof. It just has a little circle like the dealer
But it
choice.
has the same feel as the Golden Blades, though, right? Because then there's also a regular artist proof, like the one that it's in there in the box, right? So there was 2 artist proofs. Okay, got it. Well, that makes sense.
So yeah,
That's awesome.
it's a lot to take in too if you weren't heavy into hockey at the time. We picked up stuff, both of us did, but I mean we weren't just well, we go to the store, we gotta pick up all the Pinnacle. We gotta go to
Right.
the local hobby shop. They're select certified. Give me a box.
Oh, man, I wish we could go back with the funds that we have now and go back and experience what that was like. But yeah, you see what I'm saying? Like the nostalgic part of me totally missed out, man. Because when that set came out, I went straight into baseball, man. I saw the Mile My video on VHS of the Mariners, and I was like Joey Cora, Alex Rodriguez, Griffey. I was just all in. That was it. And I missed out on hockey being just an absolute blast. Like that kind of stuff right there does not exist anymore at all. It couldn't exist. But like the mail-in redemptions, if you get one of those for any player, it is like such a cool feeling to think of how hard this card is to obtain now and how hard it was to get back then too. I mean, it's just that makes me love that card even more. I don't know why it's not in a magnetic. It almost should belong in one now after just the fact that was in the dealer's hand and he probably sold it to somebody when he sold the shop and then it got listed on ComC at some point, Yeah.
That And that's the thing where if you look on eBay, you look on comps, you can find, again, you're not finding superstars, but you're finding players that maybe the names reckon or ring a bell, $4 or $5 for that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why all of them aren't wiped out. Just because, again, it's not like, okay, football, baseball, basketball, the collector's choice, you crash the game.
Yeah.
Those are pretty easy to get. Those are what, 1 in 10, 1 in 12 packs. Couple few a box. Sent it off, and it was a generic, pretty much set, or the predictors, same
Yeah.
thing.
Yep.
It wasn't. This was something. Probably half the people, if you didn't do anything with score that year for hockey, it's like, oh, here's a cool parallel, whatever, and that was it. It's like, oh, it's like a matte finish or like a older style finish.
Right.
That, and those, I think those things should be so much more valuable, not because, oh, they're aesthetically appealing or it's fancy die cut technology. It's because nobody knew about them probably then.
Right.
Now, if you can find one of your star players, you're gonna be paying a pretty big buck. And if you find like a Yager for $20-$40, jump all over it.
Yeah. No,
You
you know what's helped me appreciate cards more, Dave, is like you say, when you said that Brodeur was going for $100, I had that thing sitting in my cart on ComC. I went that right there and then went and grabbed it because I didn't even make an offer. I was just like I think it was $980 or something. I was like, this is a no-brainer. The big guys, when you see the Lemieux, the Brodeurs, the Waz, the Jagers, Fedorov, Yzerman, Lindstrom, all the guys that sell for big money, Hasek, and you see that they're going for like $80 to $100. I'm like, well, I guess I don't need any more convincing, like imagine what are the odds that a Tebow is ever going to show up again, ever, like for instance, this artist proof, you probably won't see another one for probably 3 or 4 years. Why would somebody list this card, to make $6? Nobody's going to do that. They're going to list the Patrick Waugh and make 80 on it,
And that, well, 100. That was another eye opener too.
Is that really how much this was for Waugh, the Pinnacle Artist Proof?
Yeah, it was 99 something. When I thought, I'm like, okay, 45, that'll be a significant price. I just saw it keep going up, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me that I can't get the Waugh. That's an artist proof, and then that's when I'm like, I got to get that Beckett very quickly because
I went and ran and grabbed it too.
Well, no, that was even before I think I had the Beckett. I don't know if I had it yet, but I'm like, I need to get one of these because something's I'm missing out on here. I don't know what it is, but I've been able to get.
Oh, sweet, dude. Awesome. What a great picture too. Pinnacle's the photography on their cards, the foil on there. It's just, and what's interesting? What's the card number on that one, Dave?
145.
You notice how on both of ours on the back it says artist proof on there.
Mm-hmm.
So on the back bottom right corner, you should see it there.
Yep.
So the Series 2 didn't have that, but the Series 1 did, and baseball didn't even do that. You know what I mean? Like baseball didn't list artist proof on the backs of any of their cards. Like hockey does so many cool things. Like even a Griffey artist proof from this year does not sell as much as the Waugh. So go figure. Like hockey that's what makes it so cool, man. There's so many anomalies that make like the Z teams. You know what I mean? What Z team I'm talking about? Vinny has posted them. Batnob cursive. Oh, that is sick, dude. Was that a subset?
Yep.
So was that? I don't know. Do you talk prices on here about cards you've paid for? I assume you talk a lot about that. But was that as much as the Waugh, or was it cheaper?
Cheaper. Both of them I got for. What did I pay? This was from some guy in Canada who had listed a bunch, and was able to pretty much win them. For less than I had lost the guy from the Czech Republic, so I was like, okay. I want to say I paid for both those probably 60, 70, maybe for the
pair. For the pair. Yeah, that makes me just say that there had to have been a guy like me who was like, this is my dream card for Patrick Waugh. And it showed up, but then everybody else likes artist proofs, especially from this year, because the year after they did the Dufex with the artist proof, you could barely see it down in the corner. It looked nice, But this is such a clean design. I mean, look at your Brodeur. Tell me you don't come back to that card. Yeah, there's only been one. Okay. I mean, you come back to that card a lot, right? I mean, it's just such a clean, beautiful card. And when I listed that on Instagram, Vinny knows. I mean, that card, I know even if you don't collect Jocelyn Tebow or Martin Brodeur, when you're scrolling, you stop on those cards. And so yeah, dude. Yep. I'll probably never own one of those because I had a Bure, but it needed to go to a collector that was going to love it like you love your card. And so I sold it to an awesome dude on Instagram. I'm sure you follow him, the Bure, one of those Bure collectors, and he loves it a lot. So I'm happy that
it seems to be more prevalent out there, and I don't know why.
Well, because the people know they can get $100 to $80 for all of them, probably for the big guys.
You'd be surprised. You can probably get one of those for under 15, but it's Brodeur only, it seems. And again, I don't know if he had, at the time, he was like a spokesperson for.
Oh, you think there's a bunch of extras out there, huh?
I mean, he's got a promo variation. I don't remember if it's got the promo on the back or the front, but he's also got one that's stamped, like in the back through like the pinnacle. And of course, I got the price on there for how much I paid for it, $10.
You lucky dog.
But it's like stamped right through the pinnacle.
Oh, yours is, or the one that you're talking about is.
There's promos out there.
Oh, right.
Like a hole puncher.
Right. Well, it's funny. There's a Tebow card. I'd say it's on my top 5. It's from the next year's Z team, the one that's got like some like the acetate stuff going on. I had a Bure, and I'm like, it's all right. There's Tebow. I was like, wait, he's in that set? There is not one out there anywhere. There's not one on eBay. There's not one on Beckett. Any of the other sites we've talked about, nowhere. Like, what is going on? Like, you can find one of any player. Like, type in Lemieux, boom, you got like 5 of them show up. There is not one for Tebow anywhere. So that really made me think, like, okay, was everybody produced equally, or did like somebody buy like 500 Tebows and just hold on to all of them? Because you think that card would be out there, but they're very desirable. So I think that keeps them in people's collections. Nobody lists them. So,
and that's the thing for that 97, 98, where you've got like the Z Gold. They were in that Dare to Tear type thing, the big 8x7. So you see that seemed to be popular at the time, but guess what? It was like, this is dumb. People like, I don't want to have a card, buy one. Maybe I'll get something good inside. Maybe I'll get Ulf Samuelson and be like, why did I get this? Or why did I rip a Madonna to get a Ulf? It's like, so that I'm thinking there's a lot of that stuff still floating around, or somebody's got a bunch and they're like, we're going to take a loss on this and just leave it in the old closet or in a storage shed or what. And I'm thinking a lot of that stuff is just hidden away and has never been exposed to the light of day.
I mean, when I did my want list on Trading Card Database, I think I put 100 Tebows on there. There's like, the both of the jumbo Tebows, like I think there's 3 versions: a regular, like a silver one impulse, and a gold impulse, and then the Z Gold. That's number 2 on my want list. I mean, none of those I've even seen. I only know what they look like because somebody listed them in their collection on there. But it's like, those are impossible, man. Like Carlos was saying, those Z Golds, can you imagine what a wall would go for? It's got to be $200 at least, huh?
I'll have to look that up because I'm sure at some point one of them has popped. Because again, I've looked at a lot of his stuff, but it's just like, I know, sort of like you with Tebow, I'm like, I want to go more towards Brodeur. If I can fill out that stuff and with a lot of the frequencies that his stuff is popping up with, it's like I want to sort of push my funds towards him. Yeah. Unless it's a wall that I'm just like smitten with, and I'm like, okay, let's go.
No, I mean, there's definitely cars that pop up like that, and it's kind of funny on Instagram. I'm sure Carlos knows who I'm talking about. There's this guy that recently popped up who is a Tebow collector. He's got like game use stuff and all this. And then there's 2 other guys apparently that are out there that aren't on Instagram. So it's kind of cool to know there's a following, but it's kind of funny that, you know, you start a trend and all of a sudden other people start popping up. You know, but it's cool though. You know, I've definitely been surprised. The hockey collecting world surprises me all the time. Doesn't fail to stop surprising me, but I think the people have been, you know, outwardly friendly way more than I could have ever expected. And you know, I keep thinking to myself, there's about 15, 20 guys on Instagram and then you that I've met on YouTube that I'd love to go to a hockey show, like a Canada card show with, and just like just relive the days of when I was a kid and I went to card shows with my dad at a young age, and all they had was hockey and you could just get it anywhere. It was awesome, man. Good times.
They'll show you a couple of WAs. And again, as we go along, if you want to show stuff, please go ahead.
Oh man, I don't even know where to start, man. But you go first. Maybe it'll get me going in the right direction here.
These are, I think, the 4 big WAs that I've picked up in the last month.
Okey-doke.
The first one, there's been a guy on there that's, I think it's Carter's Cards, or like Pennsylvanian. This is I got a bunch of stuff that out of the 90s.
Love those cards, man. Can't believe Tebow made it in that set, but I'm happy he did.
Yeah. There's a lot of goofers in there because I think Mark Denis is in there.
He is.
And there's I don't know if Eric Fashad for Islanders.
Yeah,
so I
was
mean,
a weird
we're
one.
at least trying to think ahead, like, oh, maybe these guys will do well.
Yeah, for sure.
I finally got the guy to come, and I was at work messaging him because I'm like, would you take 110 for the pair? Because he had him up for, I think, 44 and then 79.
Okay, this one's the more expensive one you're about to show, I assume, right?
I got 2 Brodeurs that I'll eventually show, but these are the WAs. I was happy because I've been sitting on them, and I'm like, this is the one time one of my patient streaks paid off.
Oh, there you go.
I'm not very patient, but I got the Untouchables finally for him.
And that's out of 1,000, right?
Which they're decent looking, but
did they do a variation of those? Because Summit would always do. They didn't do variation that year. That's too bad.
It was just the high voltage where they had to whatever 1,000. I think there's the I don't know, high energy or something in the corner. It's like the Mirage that football did, and then I got the gold team.
Oh man! Now, did they do a mirror of those too? By the way, like baseball. Oh man, that thing's got to be at least $1,500. Like if it ever shows up, because those are just like most stunning cards ever created.
And this one's out of 300, but it just.
Oh, that's sick, dude! Such a sick card.
That was one again where I was sitting there, I'm like, it kept coming down, and like I don't know how far it's going to come down because it's just something that's you don't see. And the last one I'll show before I'll let you show a little excitement. This is one I wanted, and again, looking at the Beckett, you're looking at score 94, 95, and you're like, why is this worth anything? Why are these cards so expensive?
Trying to run through my memory, like, okay, I've studied score a lot. Which card could this be? Okay, hopefully I got it right.
I bought a bunch of them from the guy because, again, he's just been listing all the. He was the guy that I bet you had that Boucher Stadium
team. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, he's just. I don't know where he's finding them. If he's watching us or listening to our conversations.
I hope so. That'd be cool. Oh, I've never seen that before. That's a sweet looking card, man.
So I was able to get, I don't even know how many. It was, I got, I'll show this for Vinny.
Oh, that's a really interesting design. Well, so the picture of the color picture is smaller, like it's zoomed out a bit. Okay, yeah. So it doesn't quite line up. Interesting idea, like design idea on that.
I liked it. I was like, again, they're tough to find. And then I was able to pick up. I mean, I got some other guys. I got Dag. I got Jeff Sanderson for the Whalers. I mean, I got some guys cheap, but for Carlos.
Nice.
And this one, Waugh was 61. This guy was 35.
Patrick Waugh outsells Wayne Gretzky.
At least for
How
that
on earth?
insert.
That makes no sense. That makes
So
no sense.
I was happy to get both at the price, at both their prices, because I mean, that was a Waugh I looked at and wanted because I knew they just weren't popping up. But then when he had everybody on there, I'm like, man, that's
Yeah, that's kind of. You would think the greatest player of all time, hands down, would be the bestseller, but I wonder where why Waugh is like literally almost doubling his prices. He just must have an incredible following. And goalie cards, I mean, let's be honest. Goalie cards are more exciting to collect than player cards, man. They got the masks on, they got the pads. Artistically, they bring more to a card than any other sport. I don't care what you say. Like, sure, NFL, but all of them got the same helmet on. They might have different cleats nowadays or something, but artistically, they're not doing anything with the card designs themselves nowadays. Panini does have a couple cool case hits that they really like downtown, and but for me though, like Summit, dude, I think you convinced me to go after this one. When I found it, I was so happy. The In the Crease. This is the parallel for the In the Crease. What is this called? The
mirror version.
Oh, it's ice. I thought it was ice something. Anyway, this is the version out of 600, and just talk about just an amazing card design. Here's the back for everybody out of 600. I mean, when this pops up for any player, I'm always tempted to buy it, but I know I can't afford it. But yeah, dude, I loved Pinnacle Summit back in the day, because especially this year they did like 4 variations. Remember that of the base card?
Yeah.
They got the steel, they got the artist proof, they've got there's actually 5 then. Steel, artist proof, there's a silver, and then there's like a really speckled silver version. Lots of really cool ones, man. Yeah, exactly. No, I mean, you're right, Carlos. I mean, I don't really appreciate their base cards, but I love how low the print run is on all their all their products. Like the Bia Player stuff, you told me, I have to show this on the podcast. I think you know where I'm going with this one. You told me, like, Matt, you better buy this card because if I you paid for the Brodeur, right? The complete package, right?
Yeah.
I mean, talk about a fun idea. This card company, they didn't mass produce their inserts. They made so many different game used and inserts that they were all low print run, and I just thought that was awesome, man. Loved it. Oh, so sick, dude. That card would probably double in price now from what you paid for it, huh?
I'm sure. I don't see. That's the thing. I don't know who's been out there collecting, other than the couple guys that I've seen on. I know a couple guys on the Hobby Insider page. One tries to pick up stuff when he can, but then there's another guy who gets more of the higher end stuff, and then he's saying he's losing out super high end stuff or medium high end stuff to other guys for prices he never thought he'd pay either. So it's
right.
I don't even know what's going on with some of that stuff. I'm like, try to stick to Brodeur, try to grab everything from the table then, and then I'll circle back to Waugh because I know, again, not that he'll always be there and the stuff. I'll miss stuff. I mean, we all miss rare stuff. But I mean, some of the Brodeur stuff I've been able to pick up, I wanted more than the Waugh, because I know the Waugh stuff of that Brodeur will go for more. And I'm like, well, I'll hold out and hope down the road somewhere I can parlay other cards into the Waughs. But right now it's been fun just loading up on Brodeur stuff.
Right. Maybe people are overlooking Brodeur and just going for Waugh, you know what I mean? Which, I mean, yeah, pick the 2 best goalies of all time, arguably. That's a tough task for you. But like coming into hockey months ago, one thing that was really cool is like baseball. A lot of their game use stuff, even now, is very dry and boring. Yeah. And in the early 2000s, there, man, the hockey, the between the pipes and whatnot. I loved all the game use cards that they did, like the game use, like the pad, the trappers, like getting chunks of their not just their pads and their legs, but a chunk of the blocker or a chunk of the glove or the trapper, and that for me has made hockey even more exciting, because now I can start chasing some of those down and getting some really unique game used pieces as compared to, just picking up a napkin jersey swatch of somebody, which is really not that exciting in baseball. I mean, seriously, like any game used products from Panini are, game used and just are not, they just don't do anything for me, man. But hockey still has a strong following when it comes to that kind of stuff, because it's all literally game used, like legit used in the game, which is awesome.
Yeah, the player used stuff that's pretty much killing the baseball and football markets.
Yeah.
When again, if you made those the case hits along with the
Yes.
inserts back in the early 2000s, you'd still have, I'm saying, at least half of the people that collected, because again, the technology inserts of, like, again, I'll show another, like a Madonna like that,
Mm-hmm.
a cool parallel to the, like a Chelios,
That's awesome, dude. That looks amazing.
or like, I want to show something. Where, just had it here. Like a stubble out of that Leaf Limited.
Oh yeah, that was a fun one. Awesome.
So stuff like that, that's cool. And I mean, just sort of quirky and goofy or whatever, but you have that stuff complementing the game used instead of the game used just being pushed down everybody's throat. And I got a jersey card. Well, a year later, guess what? Every pack has a jersey card.
Yeah.
How awesome is that now?
Right.
And
No, well, I mean, you hit it right on the head, man. I would actually, I have a baseball connection to this that I think was a reason this set was so successful. Anybody that knows anything about modern baseball, I know that you've probably seen it in my last mail day video, was what Topps did with the finest flashback set from this year, the 93 flashbacks. In my opinion, I think that's the best thing they've ever done in the last 15 years. And the reason is, not only did they bring back a set that people knew from their childhood, but like you get one refractor per box and one gold refractor per box. That's it. That's all that's guaranteed. Two hits, two. And a box, and those boxes were ridiculous. But then that also makes them more collectible. So honestly, man, like I would love to see more products go down that path. There's more value to the base cards that way. There's more value to when you do get an insert, even if it's just a refractor. And I think that that's something I would love to see hockey do, go to this, like, for instance, I mean, I have to show this card because I think it's one of the best parallels that's ever been made, was the Donruss stamp of approval. I think doing something really cool like this for a base card parallel and making it one per box, right? Yeah. Just one, and having it be the only parallel would sure bring people into a product a lot more than having, oh dude, like, tell me that's not a card that you like coming back to. Look at that, like the gold lettering where it says stamp of approval. You can't beat that, man. You can't beat it.
They don't make them like this. They just don't.
Nope. And I think Topps is onto something with that idea, though. That's why I kind of brought that up, because if they were to ever get a hockey license back, I would love to see them go in that direction, you know what I mean, and do something like that, and just start approaching it with this mindset of not having to put a certain number of hits all the time. Like, I need to get 5 jersey cards and 2 autos per box. Okay, well, now the price is $400 for a couple of scrubs, potentially. And I loved the finest. No matter who you get out of it, it's not the resale value. Sure, you can look at that. They're going to do well on the open market, but it's the idea that when you do get a hit, it's very, very special, and then you might get something cool on top of it. But yeah, I think it's that for me, I would love to see that mindset. Like these artist proof, weren't these like 1 per 2 boxes or something? Like you didn't even guaranteed one a box, and that's why those the Zenith artist proof from 96, 97, I've yet to see a Tebow, and I opened a box of it and I see why, because you get one every other box. I'm like, and then you look in the Beckett and you see there's only like 250, 300 of those produced. It's like, all right, this is cool. Like, this is what we need to be doing again, rather than doing the jerseys and stuff. I would love that.
And it makes it fun too, because again, I haven't seen a brodeur out of that either. So it's not a 101. It's not to 5 where it's like if we see it, we're going to be paying out our nose for it.
Yeah.
There's a chance, and there's the hunt. So, I mean,
Yeah.
I like that where it's something obtainable. Again, I'd like to have everything that I have right away.
I know. He nailed it right there.
Yeah, Wes, I don't get that.
Doesn't make any sense to me either. That's why Project 2020, literally, I'm so sour about it. Is I bought a few cards that I like. I'm keeping 2, and the rest of them I have listed on eBay and a lot. I mean, I literally had to pay $20 for each of them, and they're worth like, some of them are worth as much as a freaking top loading or a magnetic is worth that they're in, which makes the card worthless. How can you pay $20 for a card that's worth $7 on the open market now? It makes no stinking sense. It does not. And that's why I'm like, thank God I collect Tyler Glass now, because his cards are, mostly cheap. So it's like, cool. I like the guy. I like his cards. But yeah, the Project 2020 is exactly like this Flawless. Makes no sense, man. None.
Oh. That's why I'm glad I just picked up the Key Shore ones, because I like his artistry. He's just goofy. And
I should send you all my Griffies. You can have them, man. What a terrible choice of money spent. Golly. I mean, we all thought we were going to like make a killing. Oh, dude, I love those. Yeah, speaking of artist proofs, we could do a whole episode on how awesome they are. What was the print run on those, by the way? Do you know?
I don't know if they have. I'll check.
I am kind of curious. Here's the 90, while you're looking, here's the 96, 97 Pinnacle artist proof. I really like this one because of the foil. Obviously, a beautiful picture of that. I think they all had kind of similar print runs, right?
That one was a 1 in 39. It doesn't say anything about a print run, but I'm sure, again, it wasn't, you don't have thousands of them out there.
Right.
Just because, again, they didn't produce, because there's the Hull artist proof. But then
Mark Denis and then Patrick on the back. Oh, Brodeur. Oh, those are just awesome. Yeah, those limited exposure are nasty. This might be the best looking. Oh, there you go. That's okay. So I like to relate some of these to baseball. That is the equivalent of the cornerstone insert in baseball. Am I right?
Yeah.
Okay. It's like Brodeur and one other guy, right?
No, this is just him. It's not. Because I remember, because I got a Piazza with Mondesi, Hollingsworth, and somebody else.
There was another one that was only them.
Yes, this is like the duo view.
Yeah, so, yeah, right. Okay. They didn't call it that in baseball, but I know where you're going with that. Would you be in the opinion that this might be the best looking artist proof they did from the 90s? This one right here. Oh my goodness, dude.
And that was one I told you about too, that wait till you get it in hand and
yes,
it's gonna rock your world. You'll be like, what, $10 for this? And then you'll see it.
I just wish he was in like if he was in the Jacques Plante mask and not his abs mask and pads, this would be probably a top 25 card. So yeah, you were right. You were right on that one, bro. Nailed it. Oh, yes, we talked about that. All right, so I think this will be a good point because I have my family guy I'm going to go talk to in about 20 minutes. What did that end up going for? Did that come from the Czech Republic guy?
No, this was somewhere stateside. I think $84.
Okay, so the guy that listed mine, he had it as a $29.99 opening bid. Okay. And I want to say that I bought the Dan Cloutier from a different guy. It was cheaper though. But I remember when this came up and I'm thinking, oh, it's at a 33, and it's got a decent shine to it. But then every time you show me how much you're paying for your guys, it makes me go back and be like, wow, I'm glad I got it when I did, because have you seen the refractors from that set too? I know you've seen the picture of mine, but the refractors were only out of 59 too. Like, wouldn't it be cool if they came back to that idea and just did like 1 or 2 parallels that were really low numbered that were chase cards rather than, although I did enjoy putting the whole Glass Now rainbow together from Chrome this year, rather than do 15 parallels, do 3 or 4 only, You'll
never see that again just because of the money being made.
Right.
People love those rainbows. They can't get enough.
I mean, as a modern collector of a guy that's not expensive, I get that. But I mean, can you imagine collecting Mike Trout or Fernando Tatis Jr. or Luis Robert. I mean, there's no way you'd put that rainbow together. It would be impossible because the 2 reds out of 5. Yeah, you're never gonna have those. But oh, dude, now I love that they see for me. Tebow was only in one of those. For me, I love that there's crossover, Dave, from baseball to hockey, and you know what I'm talking about with those two right there, right? I think it's so cool for somebody that for you, like the baseball side of things. For me, knowing that to find the A-Rod of that, to find the A-Rod of that, I'm gonna have to pay $100 probably, give or take. But to know that you can get Brodeur, Tebow, and that there's a crossover and that they're cheaper, that brought my love of collecting hockey like to a whole new level, man. And I think you were the one that said, "How much is that? Buy it. What are you waiting for, man?"
That was about what the $8, $10, $12 range.
Yeah,
and I'm like, get it now, buy 2 of them.
Yeah. Yeah, you said that.
This was one. I know.
Oh yeah. Right. Wasn't there a story behind that though, where like a cheaper one came up and you missed it or something, right?
Czech Republic, I had it. It went for like 45-ish. So I'm like, okay, there's been a buy it now one on there for $39.99 since I started with the Broder stuff I've had on the watch list. Circled back to that had sold because whoever probably lost amongst the 5 or 6 bidders, one of those went back, bought that. So I'm like, okay. Yeah. And that one had been sitting up for, I think, 3 weeks. And I'm like, finally, I was like, you're going to be happier just paying a little more, getting it out of the way, done. And that's sometimes it wasn't a rage buy like I'd mentioned, but at the same time, it's like, okay, I lost one of them. This one's been up. I was going to pay X amount for that one. May as well get this one because you know what? I know I like it. I'm just procrastinating. It's not a finite number, but again, it's like 1 in 400 or so. Why not get it, be done with it? Because again, it's not like people are having group breaks to 95, 96, or 96, 97 pinnacle hockey out there.
No.
And that's where a lot of the stuff, everybody's like, oh, the new stuff, it's easier to find, even if it's numbered to 5 or 10. Well, when you got 25, 35 breakers breaking a case a week of it or more, you're going to have a lot more stuff pop.
Well, that's one thing that's been totally different for me. Like for Tristan Jarry, even, he's not in a lot of sets yet. I'm hoping that they put him in more of the stuff toward the end of next hockey season or the middle, because he made the All-Star team and he's going to be their number 1 goalie, as long as they get rid of Murray. But yeah, a lot of his stuff just comes like flooding into the market, and then, a couple, 2-3 months later, nothing. So I have to be on it, man. Like I have to be on his cards, and Carlos and anybody else that collects guys that have modern cards, you have to be on it right there and then. And that just makes you appreciate this 90s stuff, man. You just never know when it's going to come up because it's totally random. Totally random, man.
The last 2 I'll show are.
Oh my goodness gracious! How can that not get a 10? What did they say? It didn't get a 10. Everything was 9.5. Okay, I mean it's practically a 10. I mean whatever.
So
unbelievable, dude.
That was one he had a stupid starting bid on it, but he had the best offer. So I'm like, okay, I'll put in $260. I'm like, I feel comfortable. The last couple went around there, and the one before it went for like 208, $215. It was like 10 minutes left in the auction. I'm like, if I hear from him, great. If I don't, whatever. I mean, within like a minute, the little eBay thing popped up on his phone. I'm like, well, what the hell's that for? I know like the auction ends. He's like, item 1. I'm like, he took it.
Awesome. That's cool.
Good. So there's that one. So that I just need Forsberg. That's only.
That's a mega card, dude. That's a huge card. Jocelyn doesn't even have one of those. I wish he did, but.
I was just saying, I wish they had a deeper checklist on there. Like the 20 to 25 would have been perfect for both sports, and then football too. So I mean, because then you could have had a couple people that you didn't know yet, but I mean, still, because like baseball has Jose Guillen.
Yeah, that's true. That does. That is kind of funny. Think about the guys that didn't make it, and he did.
Yeah. So I'm like, I would have rather had Abreu in there than Guillen. So
yeah, that's true.
But yeah, Forsberg, I still haven't seen one of those pop up at all. I mean, that's the only one I need out of the four guys I started with. Sakic, I got Brodeur, and I got Waugh.
You have Wav that too? Oh my goodness gracious.
And
That's awesome.
This one, I didn't get the guy to come down as far as I wanted, but at the same time, again, I know how tough they are to come across. And I was able to get it off eBay too. So I always get nervous with that because again, back then you could 20 years ago, 15 years ago, you could hammer home somebody in the feedback.
But yeah, like it's gonna change, Carlos. That's funny.
But I was happy to get this, and I paid more again, like I said, that I wanted. But I've seen a proof on the eBay, but I don't want to deal with that stuff. And this one wasn't a proof, but
oh, dude, that is awesome. Fashad, and is that Martin on the other side?
Luongo, rookie year, Luongo.
Oh, I thought it was Fashad. Jeez, look at that autograph too, man. That's awesome. Beautiful signature. Oh, dude, that is a centerpiece card. So beautiful. Like even the base inserts are unbelievable.
So, and I think it's the first 100 are numbered or autoed, and this was what 84. Right.
Oh, dude, that is awesome. I've been trying to track a Tebow down. Remember, we messaged that guy in Germany had one up, and he wanted like $180 for it. I'm like, I cannot pay that much for that card. I even if it was number one on my want list, I could not go there for that card. I just, if I had tons of money, then I'd be like, sure, yeah, buy it and then wait 5 months for it to get here. Funny, I actually bought a Curtis Joseph autograph from China and never got it. I bought that 4 months ago, never got it. And so I decided that was the one place. I'm trying to find a Burrows card here to be my last one. I know I brought all my Burrows cards in from the display shelf because I redid it for my Formula One collection that I'm starting. But
I paid strong for that, Carlos. I paid strong for that.
If I can't find it here in a couple minutes, dude, we can move on. But yeah, dude, buying from there it is. Buying from overseas, like the Czech Republic thing. When you said you bought those, I'm like, man, it could be months before you ever see those. With the way COVID's gone with shipping and everything, But this is one of those things where like a guy like Burrows ends up in a set that you're like, huh, okay. And obviously, why I collect Burrows partly because me and my dad like watching him play, but the same last name. Yep. It was awesome to see like really cool patch cards of him pop up, and I just love it too because we know that they're all game used. You know what I mean? Rather than all these big cards, so it adds an extra layer of collectability for me. So love. I don't get to pick up Burrows much anymore, as you know. He hardly has anything pop up less than Tebow. So it's pretty cool. Pretty cool, man. Okay, so that one right there we talked about for sure, but what's that one an equivalent to in baseball? That one right there. Is that the four, like the baseball one that's lengthwise, right? Cornerstones, I think.
I don't know, what is this? The Force, SPX Force. I know football's got it in 96.
Okay.
Right. Don't know if baseball had like, let's say Griffey. Who else would have been out for an outfielder? Let's say Andrew Jones. It wouldn't have been, but I mean, like Andrew Jones, Bonds, and then
maybe Larry Walker or
somebody like that. And again, I know we're forgetting people, but yeah, these are. I mean, this one has what? Osgood, Richter, Hasek, and Brodeur.
I like how their masks are off on the front and on the back. That's really cool. Really nice touch.
Just because, again, you can see, you won't be able to even see them or differentiate them.
Or the greatest 90s right there.
I love those. Okay. I mean, it's SP or Upper Deck, all the companies, again, and that's what competition did. It made you probably go to your comfort or your comfort realm to produce something. So I got so much to show, but again, I know we've got a limited amount of time. And I mean, one of these days, we'll keep doing hockey somewhere. We'll find time for it because it's just, I don't want to push it off to the side. I know you don't, because again, there's so much that we're learning that we can share and that other people can pick up and be like, holy crap, that's cool. Where, what, where, what, when?
Yeah,
So,
right. I wonder how many, because obviously everybody that watches this might not come back and comment. I'd be really curious to see how many people since hockey, like since they started learning about hockey from our podcast and when I've done mail days, obviously your mail days you've been showing for a while, which is great. How many people got that bug from watching some of these hockey mail days and being they're affordable, they're unique looking, they've got some of the best players to ever play the game. Why not just dive in a little bit, just pick up a few cards here and there? I'd be really interested to find out how many people were influenced by, some of the YouTubers, because there's just not a lot of guys that talk about 90s cards at all, especially in
no,
hockey.
no. And that's a shame, but it's great for us because then we can, I don't want to corner the market, obviously, but it's nice when, if people want to hear about it, they're coming to you, they're coming to me, they're coming to Carlos. I think Joe Sakic 19, he's a guy that breaks some older wax on here. Come to those guys, and then just even in the comments, if you see people click on those names, you go. They got a channel and they got a lot of videos. See what they're about, because again, I feel I've said this before, a plethora of times too. We get so pigeonholed into like Josh Johnson for so many years. That's all I wanted to get. Or I was player centric so much so that I didn't look up once in a while. Like, okay, I'll go back, artist proof, I'll look that up, or Mirror Black, see if there's a 101 from back in the 2000s. I wouldn't go and there you go, Bolton Cards.
Yeah, I follow him. He's a cool guy, nice guy. It seems like a really down to earth guy for sure. Yep.
And that's the thing. I wouldn't look up Brett Hull. I wouldn't look up Madonna, Gretzky, Sakic, Owen Nolan, Lemieux, Broder, Waugh, Hasek, Fedorov, Bure. I wouldn't look up any of those guys. I'd go to like TNT cards. I'd just look up, okay, let's see what they got. Then I go to the football. Then I go to the basketball. Then I go baseball, whatever. But that's where, if you, like we've said, we'll keep saying, I'll repeat myself 20 times per podcast to drive home the point. Just take a look. That's all you have to do. Take a look. Because there's so much stuff out there card-wise. If you just pigeonhole yourself to one specific brand, one player, one sport, you're just going to miss out. It's like you're turning your back to the sunset over the mountains because the storms go through. Like, you're missing that because of this. You can enjoy both. It's awesome.
I agree. I want to end with this card right here, because one of the verse comments was about somebody coming back to the Penguins, and I will say that every now and then Upper Deck will impress me. I think in the early 2000s, mid 2000s, early 2010s, they do designs that are just like, holy crap, look how amazing this is. So I'm going to end the podcast. I'm wearing this jersey, this version of the jersey, my favorite Penguins jersey ever done. And this is my favorite goalie from the Penguins that ever played there. Wearing that jersey, case hit, awesome die cut. Upper Deck can still do it. They still have, every now and then they hit a card that you're just like, oh my gosh, am I lighting off? My computer screen sucks. But you've seen this card on Instagram. Mm-hmm. This thing's disgusting, man. Like right now, when the light comes down on it, right, it's just, amazing. I hope that Upper Deck continues to do that. And then I hope that Marc-Andre Fleury makes his way back to my team before next season starts. That would make me a very happy collector, because then he gets Penguins cards again. Yes.
Free agent or no?
It would have to be a trade. And the thing is he didn't play a minute in the playoffs, basically. I think he might have played at the beginning, but then Robin Lehner took over, and he became like the goalie for the team. And so, I mean, Vinny's got a point. He could be coming back, and I hope that it happens. Yeah. Captain Puckhead, isn't he kind of like my Philippian tubers? What's that one guy called? The baseball. Yeah, I don't have enough time to watch everybody, first of all, but second of all, man, he's definitely a niche guy, I give him a lot of credit for having just one heck of a personality. I met him at the National. Good for him, man. Yeah, so there's definitely some guys that that'll give you some unique content on YouTube. I'll tell you that. Mine unique content is my intro video. I don't think anybody does anything like that, especially to an ER song. So there we go.
Yeah, I've got long videos. If anybody's got longer, I haven't found them yet.
No, but you got your staple, dude. There's one thing that you do in your mail day videos that nobody on YouTube does. You know what it is?
My
At the very
outro.
beginning. No, your intro is, how's it going, guys? Like you give a nice deep one. I'm like, yep, this is a Dave Archer. And it's great though, man. I think we all, need to have some kind of a niche on YouTube. Like I liked the mail day videos where you could see the TV in the background, no matter what it was, and then you'd have the cards out. That was kind of my I knew I was watching a Dave video when you had, but then the outdoor one you did probably had the best lighting of all. That was when you showed off all those Czech Republic cards, I think, right? You were outside on the patio.
I wanted to make sure that some of these got their due because, again, you could see it here, but then outdoors when that sun's beating down,
perfect lighting.
You need the Corey Hart sunglasses at night.
Nice. Oh yeah, dude, that's the only Brodeur card I own. That exact card right there. Just when you got two of them, holy mackerel! Good for you, man.
Because that was the same time I was waiting on that stuff, and another one had popped up, and I'm like, it's not going for nearly as much as I paid. I need to make sure I've got one.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I'm still skeptical of the stuff coming over here, but so I got that one for like 20, 25 less than the other one, but I'm like, I'm still happy with two because, again, it's a case hit.
Yeah, right. For sure. No, there's again, we could keep going on and on, but there's so many cool cards in the 90s. And I guess for my outro, I do want to say thanks to you, especially for being that guy that people can approach, B, has a lot of content on YouTube that you can, if you're thinking, I want to get into 90s hockey, any of the great players are on there, are in these sets that you've shown off, except the goalie only sets. But then if you're like, oh, I want to own a card of Patrick Roy or Martin Brodeur, you've shown off like 50 or 60 that are affordable and look amazing. So it's like, thanks for getting all those out there. You know what I mean? And that's got to be one of the coolest things. I mean, you and I agree. One of the best parts about collecting, if not the best part, is the community feel of it all. Sure, it's nice to have the cards and show them off, but we're not these look at what I got, I don't care about what you have type guys. We're here to help people and appreciate, what other people have been able to do collecting wise. That's what it's all about, man. So, thanks for being a good influence, not just for me, but for the community out there. It's been awesome.
Yeah, even though you thought right away I was.
Well, I couldn't tell, man, because I was like, I'm not going to tell you like 50. Like, look at this. I didn't want to be that guy. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to say who it is, but there's a guy that I recently connected with you, and I won't say his name, but he will just hit me up and be like, look what I got. And he'll never be like, hey, how's it going? Like, he just wants to show me what he got all the time. I'm like, dude, like, that's not what it's about, man. And I felt like I was like just showing you. So it's been nice to like kind of bounce back and forth. It sucks that you're not on Facebook, because that's like a really good way to kind of, yeah. Carl, that's okay.
I don't know if that'll ever be something. When you watch my rant videos, you're gonna be like, man, why isn't he in a padded room?
I focus on only the positives. Me, I'm a glass half full guy, man. Even if it's only this full, that thing's half full, baby. Let's go. And since we're making fun of each other, why not? Carlos, my best impression of Carlos is this right here. This is like a top 5 card. He'll be like, that's a cool little card. He'll be like, nice little card there. Boom, next. I'm like, dude, no. You just showed like an impossible card off. Like, must be nice. But his Madonna collection is like filthy. You and Brent, which is Near Mint Musings on YouTube. Brent Morrison, he said you got to look at Carlos, man. He's got everything. And so you guys are like the primary, like, okay, got to watch the pickup, see if I've missed anything, And then, of course, Carlos shows off a Madonna. I'm like, Tebow's not in there. Or you show off a Wah. Tebow's not in there. So, yeah, Keep it up, man. And don't forget to keep burping at the beginning of all the videos. If you leave that out, I'm like, okay, he's turned over too positive of a leaf.
Well, usually
Yeah.
with those, it's just me talking, so I got 20 minutes, and there's got to be air to escape both places. So I mean, it's yeah.
Oh man,
It,
I got to keep that out of my videos, man.
well, I know a lot of people on here take this seriously, and that's fine, and like super editing and all this fancy schmancy stuff. I no, you're gonna get me as you'd get me at the grocery store, as you'd get me at a card show, as you'd get me pretty much anywhere else.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna change because that some stuff I can change, I should change, but that's me. I'm too old now to care about. I'm a boomer. Get off my lawn. If you don't like me, keep it. But yeah, that's if you can get information out of my videos, like your videos as well, that's all I can ask for. I mean, and again, we've said too, open book. You got questions, ask. That's the only way you're gonna learn. You know that from teaching. You sit in the back of the class and you just don't participate, or I don't know what's going on, but I'm too shy. You're not gonna learn by saying nothing.
Well, and that's why I have to kind of keep it PG on all my videos, because I've got a student here and there that likes to come over and watch, like, hi, Mr. Burrows, I'm so and so from class, and but other than that, I certainly enjoy doing the videos, and yeah, I think for me, if I'm going to show mail off, I'm not going to be like, here's mail in your face, have a nice day. It's got to be more of an educational video. And like, that's the teacher in me, so I'm saying, okay, this came from here. This is the print run on these. Go grab one of these. This is where these came from. But I love the best part of the show today was learning about the score, dealer's choice, artist proofs, man. I just nerd out over stuff like that. And that Beckett has been so much fun to find out that kind of information from. It really is.
And that's, sure, we both say, and anybody that's bought that Vinny, I know he's got it too. It's fun to sit down and leaf through, because guess what? You're not sitting leafing through a newspaper, seeing all the bad news that's going on. You just let me get into my zone of, I was 15, 20 years old, whatever it was. I can go back and look at some of the stuff I don't remember.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, I got this card. The old high voltage. Let me look what's going on here. What's this for? And
right.
Just having fun. I don't want to say you always want to get lost in that world, because that you got to be up to date with, again, real life. But at the same time, as a good breath of fresh air, just to decompress and be like, okay, let's look up on eBay. Flip to a page, and there's Summit artist proofs. Let's see what those are. Who am I going to find? Maybe there's a Scott Stevens for $4. Hall of Famer, $4, one per box.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, it's.
That's funny. You're right, though, man. I mean, it's everybody needs an escape. You could have an escape you could escape to the bottom of a bottle, or you can escape with some kind of drugs or whatever you want to do. I think collecting is a healthier option. Obviously it makes the wallet lighter, but it's a nice escape, especially for me. Teaching right now is as crazy and different as it's ever been. And I do enjoy that I have the collecting community to, focus my interests on, and then kind of pull me away from when things just are, when hits the fan. So yeah, anyways, but hey, thanks again for having me on, Dave. This has been a lot of fun. I'm glad that you got a podcast going. I always enjoy watching bits and pieces when you're on here with your buddy. Obviously I can't make it for all 4 hours, but it is fun to pop in and just kind of just see where interests are at and what people are saying. So yeah, keep it up, man. It's been fun.
Yeah, eventually we'll get more towards like card designs and stuff like that, but I got to figure out how I want to have it topically. It's just, do I go by year? Do I go by brand? What plate? I don't know. It's first world problems. That's what it is.
It'd be fun to get, I mean, I would certainly enjoy being a part of it. But when I'm running the podcast, as you saw in the last episode, doing like the best Fleer design insert, I mean, those kind of things are really fun because A, it gives you a chance to pull the cards out, and B, it gets people talking, you know, like, I don't know about that. Like, that shouldn't have won. You know, that insert's better designed than this. Those kinds of shows are certainly fun. These I really enjoy too, where you just get on and BS with your friends and show cards off. But I do enjoy putting those together on the podcast where it really gets people thinking and pulling their cards out. You know, like Vinny, I'm sure, like, oh man, I don't remember that card being that great. And then, you know, he grabs one, he's like, holy smokes, you're right. You know, like the Fleer Metal when we were on the podcast together. So yeah, man, it'd be nice to see you guys go down that route and pull in, you know, 4 or 5 people into a podcast and just see.
Don't give us any ideas for do a hockey bracket. That would be.
Yeah.
Oof.
Vinny, what's your buddy's name again that's on here with you all the time? Steve. Carlos. That'd be a good group of 5 people right there. Holy smokes. I'll have to introduce you to Batnob Cursive. When I have him on, his collection, it's not about the collection, but it's about his insights and what he thinks about the cards like we do. So maybe we can get something like that together and really dive deep into the hockey. But it'd be great to see you guys do it, man. There's so much to unpack. So yeah, I demand a seat at the arguing table. Only if you stop referring to amazing cards as cool little cards, then he can get in. Oh man, that's awesome. No, that would be great. I mean, yeah, Carlos, he's got just about everything that you could want from Adonis. Talk about having just a complete, you know,
full gamut of everything. So that, because again, I focus up to 03, 04. You do everything Tebow, and then you've got some modern stuff.
Yeah, the Burrow stuff helps me stay, and Jari kind of helps me stay in that 2010 to now. Yeah, for sure. Okay. I mean, if you say that exact phrase in your next video, then you're off the hook, man. I'm waiting for Friday. I can't wait. I know he's going to drop it too, but that'll be great. But yeah, cool, man. Well, hey, thanks again. This is, I really enjoyed being on here. Thanks for inviting me on. I love being able to just strictly talk hockey. I don't get to do that a whole lot because the podcast is mostly baseball stuff. So
yeah, and they'll come with the pitchforks and the fire.
I know they will, just like the Simpsons when they all storm their house, you know, with fires and everything. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you everybody for watching it. Again, you're watching it now. You're watching it in the archive. If you want more hockey content, comment below, or if Carlos makes a video saying he needs more, this has been an appetizer to the full course meal. We'll try to figure something out. Again, the popularity isn't there of basketball, isn't there of football, baseball, but it should be there. It should be in that realm where you're not just thinking of hockey as like the stepchild over in the corner where it's like, and it needs to be with everybody because hockey is an integral part of North American sports. It's in Europe. We've pushed it everywhere else. Again, it's fun. So again, if you want more, let us know. We'll figure something out down the road. Because again, every week I don't think we could do it. Every month and a half, 2 months, just to have like a refresher course and talk some more. And I think that'd be doable. Just to, again, be a gardener. You're planting a seed. You're checking it out in a couple months. So,
right.
Again, thank you for watching. Yeah, the hockey, that's perfect. It's a strong community because of the bonds that are built.
Yep.
And it's people that want to truly and genuinely enjoy the cards.
That is 100% true right there. That is 100% true. That defines the hockey community more than anybody. And if anybody's not like that, I got out of a couple of those hockey groups on Facebook, like the buy, sell, trade ones, trying to find Tebow cards because they were all about how much is this worth? And how much you want to pay for this Crosby? I'm like, I don't want to be around people like that. I want to be around collectors that enjoy keeping the cards, and that's what hockey's all about, man. That's what I love about it.
Yeah, if you're selling something, you're giving it to them at a decent price, not like how much is it worth?
Yeah.
Well, how much do you have it for? It's your card. I mean,
yeah, right. That's ridiculous. That's where the basketball and baseball guys.
You don't go to the used car shop and be like, how much is it worth? And you're like, I don't know what. I don't have a Kelly Blue Book.
There should be one, right? Then they don't have to ask the dumb questions.
Oh, it would be nice. But thank you everyone for watching. Next week, Steve will be on. I hope. Get his kiddo caught up on all the fun homework. Because remember, kids, do your homework.
Yes, please.
Respect your elders and your teachers. No cell phones in class.
Yeah, I don't have to worry about that, thankfully.
Well,
not yet.
Yeah, give it time. Up here, we're still elementary. My daughter's still going, but with all those COVID cases, the high school went for hybrid. So it's like Monday, Wednesday, and then Tuesday, Thursday for others. But
right.
Hopefully soon. Just
one more year. I think next year, hopefully, we can go back to the new normal post December, if you know what I mean. Once all this other ridiculous stuff gets over with, and go back to some kind of normal. So, Did spelling before the podcast. All right, awesome, Vinny. I want to know what your score was. Lemieux, Iserman, Tebow. All those really tough names.
Damn Bruce.
Yeah, there you go. Samuelson, all these other ones. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, this has been fun, man. I'd love to, anytime you want to talk hockey, it'd be fun to get a round table, a group together and have at it. It'd be fun.
I agree. So remember, everybody, building collections, that's great. Building friendships, that's what the hobby should be about. Good night, everyone.
Good night.